Hello again and welcome to another Mordy and Glory Warhammer 40k video. In today's episode we shall be casting our ever critical eye over another 10th edition datasheet. Recently we've been going through the allies that are available to your Imperial Guard army and other Imperium forces as well. We've been looking at a lot of the assassins, things that skulk in the shadows, but now it is time to take a look at those forces that operate in the light, those forces that bring the enemies of the Emperor to justice. I'm of course talking about the Adeptus Arbites, or Arbites, or Arbites. I'm really not sure quite how to say it. I'm just going to mix up as we go through the video. We're looking at the Exaction squad, people. And so without further ado, let's rack our shotguns, charge our shock balls, and stop resisting our way right into today's episode. As is tradition, let us begin with a brief overview of what the hell this unit actually is. The Exaction squad was first introduced via Kill Team, and as a result of that box, we have been fortunate enough to get some rules for them in 40k as well. On the surface, they look like just another light infantry unit, some kind of guardsman equivalent, just a cool unit that you can throw into your games. But if you scratch below the surface, I think these guys actually do have some genuine play in tabletop 40k. A bold claim to be sure, and I'm going to have to back this up. So let's dive into their datasheet now, and we'll begin with their stat line. Start off, they have a movement of 6 inches, fairly normal for your light infantry units. And they have a toughness of 3, a 4+ save, which does put them a cut above the regular guards, but actually slightly pushes them more towards the elite guard infantry equivalent, such as Kazakin and Scions. They have 1 wound, leadership 7, and 1 OC. In terms of their unit composition, they come as standard with 1 Proctor Exactant, 9 Exaction Vigilance, and 0 to 1 Cyber Mastiffs. Just a quick little side note here. If you are looking at the index cards for Exaction squads on the Warhammer community website, you will see that they have a different unit composition where they can take the Sergeant and the 0 to 1 Cybermastiff, but then it's 4 to 9 Exaction Vigilance, sort of standard troopers. That was updated via a GW FAQ because a lot of people were just taking these guys as minimum size squads. You can't do that anymore. You have to take them as the big 10-man squad, and you could chuck in the Cybermastiff in there. And to be honest, there's no reason why you wouldn't take the Cybermastiff. It doesn't cost any more to put it in the squad. Each one of the Arbites in this squad comes equipped with an Arbites combat shotgun and an Arbites shot pistol, as well as a close combat weapon. The Cybermastiff is equipped with the mechanical bite. Now, if this was any of the other Arbites units that you could take, then that would pretty much be the war gear that you'd have. There might be like a Weber or some sort of extra powerful shotgun that you might be able to chuck on one of the guys. But with this being the Exaction squad, they have a surprisingly large amount of war gear options. Firstly, for every 5 models in this unit, up to 2 Exaction Vigilance can have their Arbites combat shotguns replaced with one of the following: an Executioner shotgun, an Arbites grenade launcher, a heavy stubber, or a Weber. You could also give one of the troopers who's got a combat shotgun, so not one of the special weapon guys, a Excruciator more, and he doesn't have to replace his shotgun with that. He gets both. You could also have one guy who's equipped with a shotgun to have a medikit, and another trooper who is equipped with a shotgun can take the Soul Guilt Scanner. Finally, the Sergeant can be equipped with the Nuncio Aquila. Now remember, this is 10th edition, so loading up on all of this gear, all these extra little bits and bobs, doesn't cost you any more. So slap them on the squad, because you're going to find that they add up to a lot of different buffs. But let's take a look at what all these different weapons can do. Starting off with the standard Arbites combat shotgun. It has an 18-inch range at attacks 2, ballistic skill 4+, strength 4, AP 0, damage 1. On the surface, that seems like just a bolter, really. But there's a couple of things to bear in mind. Firstly, it has the assault keyword. So actually the threat range of this weapon isn't 18 inches. You've got the movement plus the range, which makes it 24 inches, and then you can advance and shoot these things as well, which gives you a potential of up to 30-inch range with this weapon. Got 18 inches plus 6 for the move plus up to 6 for the advance. On average, that is going to get you more like a 26, 27-inch range, but that's not too bad at all. You're still going to find that you'll be able to move out with these guys, go for a cheeky advance, and start blasting. But it's not just about the blast either. Assault is one of those rules that people often just look at from a damage output perspective. But actually, what makes it really good as a special rule is you can move, advance, and still do actions. You can move out onto an objective and cleanse it, for example. And that gets you more potential secondary points, and points mean prizes. The other standard piece of equipment your Arbites come with is the Arbites shot pistol. This is, for all intents and purposes, a bolt pistol. It's not a weapon you will find yourself using very often, but again, it's one of those ones that may come up and get you some cheeky secondaries. If you have pistols, even if you're stuck in combat, you can actually do actions. You can deploy a teleporter Homer, for example. So it's not a weapon that will do damage, but again, I don't think Exaction Squad's are one that you want to be looking at solely from a damage output perspective. I think you want to be taking into account all these little special rules that allow them to be very flexible. We then get to the special weapons, and to be honest, this is where we start looking at the boom boom. Starting off, we have the Executioner Shotgun. This is a weird weapon, but I kind of like it. It's got ignores cover and precision. Ignores cover is good because the thing actually has AP-1 built into it. And so having the ignores cover means that your opponent won't just go, oh, well, it's AP-1. So basically, even if I'm a power armor space marine, I'm just going to sit here on my standard save. No, you're taking your AP-1 and you will like it. So overall, it's ignores cover, precision, 24-inch range, 1 shot, ballistic skill 4+, strength 5, AP-1, 1 damage. It's just one slightly more powerful shotgun shot. We then get to the heavy stubber, and I really like stubbers. I often say that stubbers win games. They just do a lot of chip damage, and if you're a guard player, you will be familiar with these things. They have a rapid fire 3 with a 36-inch range, so that means you get your rapid fire when you're within 18 inches, which is a pretty long rapid fire range. You then get 3 attacks, so in rapid fire range that would double to 6, and then you have ballistic skill 4+, strength 4, AP 0, damage 1. I think the heavy stubber is definitely one of the 2 special weapons you want to be putting in this unit. It supplements and complements the Arbites combat shotguns, and it just allows you to spaff more anti-infantry firepower down range. Speaking of range, it is one of the few weapons in this squad which is actually over 24-inch range, and so even though you don't really want to be just taking a few pot shots at that range, it is something that you can do. And if there's a unit that is just on the other side of the map that you've got line of sight to, but you just need to chip off that one last wound from it, maybe to take off a bit of OC or to chip one wound off a damaged monster or vehicle, having that bit of extra range can come in clutch. It's occasional, it's very situational. The main thing you want to be looking at this thing for is I get 6 shots at 18-inch range from one guy. One thing that I noticed about the heavy stubber with the Arbites is that it's got a ballistic skill of 4+. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that is better than the Gene Stealer Cult heavy stubber, which has a weapon skill of, or should I say ballistic skill of 5+, but it's got heavy. If that's the case, then technically this Arbites one is a bit better because they can use it on the move and not suffer any ballistic skill problems. Speaking of Gene Stealer Cult, the Arbites have stolen another weapon from them, which is the Weber. Now, I suspect that some people think the Weber is like a net gun that is going to entangle a riotous citizen or a dissident of some kind, and then the Arbites will take them away for some questioning. I don't think that's how the Weber works. I think the Weber is more like the net that the Predators from the Alien and Predator films shoot out at people, the one that basically is a constricting razor wire thing. And I believe that the rules for the Weber support this hypothesis because it's an assault weapon. Sure, it's tolerant, so basically it's a strength 2 flamer, but it does dev wounds. and I highly doubt that it would do dev wounds if all it was doing was incapacitating someone. The weapon's a cool weapon. Some people swear by them. Dev wounds is very nice, don't get me wrong, but I'm not a fan because of just how short range they are, and the strength too. Basically, statistically, once every 2 times you fire this weapon, you'll get a dev wound. The rest of the time, you probably won't wound very much at all. Finally, we get to the Arbites grenade launcher. Now, the Arbites grenade launcher does have 2 different firing modes. You've got frag and crack, and these are basically the same as your Imperial Guard versions. Both 24-inch range. The frag version has blast at attacks D3, ballistic skill 4+, strength 4, AP 0, damage 1. Just very much in line with things like the stubber and the combat shotgun. The crack mode is a bit more punchy. It's therefore cracking open enemy vehicles, well, at least in theory. It's got 1 attack at ballistic skill 4+, strength 9, AP -2, damage 3. I do like the grenade launcher. I like it in the guard a bit more because you can really spam quite a lot of them, and so you can get quite a lot of those punchy or semi-punchy shots through. But either way, there's nothing wrong with having a bit extra punch in this squad, because otherwise all you've got is anti-infantry firepower. Again, there might be a scenario where there's an enemy vehicle that's just on 1 wound left and none of your small arms are going to be able to touch it, but you could just pop a cheeky crack grenade at it and maybe you'll get that last wound off. Or you come across a enemy infantry unit that's a little bit tougher than you're expecting, and rather than launching more strength 4 shots at them, you just brain them with a crack grenade. Now, I suppose the big question is, out of all of these special weapons, which 2 should you put in your Exaction squad? As a guard player, I am leaning towards going Heavy Stubber and Arbites grenade launcher. I think they provide you with a solid amount of just anti-infantry firepower. Between the fact that you will have 8 shotguns, which is going to give you 16 strength 4 shots, then you can throw in a grenade launcher, which is going to give you another D3 plus blast. And if you're shooting at light infantry, that's on average going to be another 4. And then you get the heavy stubber as well, which will give you 6. You're looking at 26 strength 4 shots coming from this unit. That is a very reasonable amount. You can size down a decent amount of light infantry with that. If you've got enemy guardsmen or guard equivalent little bugs like termagants and hormagaunts swarming at you, then the Exaction squad has the firepower to take a decent chunk out of them. I do think it's a shame that you can't double up on the same special weapon. If you could, I would be really leaning towards double heavy stubber or double grenade launcher. The fact that you could have a Arbite squad at 18-inch range putting out 28 shots just consistently, reliably, makes them a half decent light infantry shredder. And then if you had double grenade launcher, it means that sure, most of the time you'll probably be shooting frag grenades and supporting the shotguns, but if you did come across a tougher target, having a couple of crack rockets that, or should I say crack grenades, that you can pop at people would give the squad a bit more punch and a little bit more flexibility. As it is, because you can only get the 1 grenade launcher, I do think that when you go for that grenade launcher and you go for that heavy stubber, you'll probably be really focusing on light infantry. But let's not forget that these guys do have combat weapons as well, melee weapons. So each Arbite comes equipped with a close combat weapon, and this has 2 attacks at weapon skill 4+, strength 3, AP 0, damage 1. Again, this reminds me of your Kazakin and of your Scions. The fact that they have 2 attacks in combat as well means that a 10-man squad is getting 20 attacks just with its close combat weapons, which is decent volume. I have to say, I have charged Kazakin squads in, I have charged Scion squads in, and they have caught enemies by surprise. I'll never forget one time when I had an Eldar player just zoom everything up into my face, thinking that between my shooting I wouldn't be able to clear him out, and my combat just didn't even enter into his tactics. And so when I ended up charging him with like 30 Kazakin and just clearing him out because I had so many attacks, it really did surprise him. And so the Exaction squad, I feel, is one of those units that if, let's say, you were facing off against Tyranids and they shoved a 20-man Hormagaunt unit right into your throat, your Exaction squad would have no problem whatsoever between their shooting and their combat, just blasting half the unit with their ranged weapons and then getting in there and finishing the rest of them off in melee. You do have a couple of special melee weapons as well. You have got that big maul as well. This gets 2 attacks and it's at weapon skill 3+. So apparently just giving one of your lads a big hitting stick makes him hit more reliably. And that is at strength 4, AP -1, 2 damage. Not too shabby. Not great, but you might be able to bonk a marine on the head and that could make all the difference in a combat. Finally, we have the Cyber Mastiff, which essentially, with its mechanical bite, has the same close combat weapon as everyone else, but it just gets 1 more attack with it. So 3 attacks, weapon skill 4+, strength 4, AP 0, damage 1. But wait, there's more! Because up until this point, we've just been looking at the weapons. But these guys come with so many different bits of war gear, and they've got their own inbuilt ability as well. Starting off, we have Imperial Law. This is the unique ability of the Exaction Squad. At the start of the first battle round, select 1 enemy unit to be this unit's quarry. Each time a model in this unit makes an attack that targets its quarry, add 1 to the hit roll. This ability, I think, is the key to making Exaction Squads sing, to making them work and allowing them to punch well above their weight. Because firstly, it's not just ranged attacks, it's any attacks. This is melee and it's ranged as well. Secondly, this solves possibly the biggest issue with Exaction Squads, which is their ballistic skill. They have a very strong amount of light anti-infantry firepower and close combat as well. But pretty much all of it is hitting on 4s. And any guard player worth his salt will tell you that hitting on 4s, it feels a lot worse than hitting 50% of the time. Getting up to hitting on a 3+ is a huge improvement. It's why, for the majority of people who play guard competitively, their go-to order when they're looking to do damage is take aim. A lot of people go on about like first rank fire, second rank fire, and they'll show you all these statistics about how it improves more of the weapons in the squad and how you should always go first rank fire, second rank fire. But you want to go take aim because hitting on a 3+ versus hitting on a 4+ is just such a wild difference. So I really like Imperial Law because it solves the one problem that I think Exaction Squads have, which is that ballistic skill and weapon skill 4+. Basically, I like to think of this as the Exaction Squad having their own inbuilt take aim order. Now, of course, the trick is going to be picking an enemy unit that the Exaction Squad can go toe to toe with, but fortunately, you don't pick the quarry before deployment, you pick it before the first battle round, at the start of the first battle round. So this means that you can do all your deployments and then see where your Arbites are, see what's opposite them and go, right, I'll just pick that unit because they're likely to actually get a couple of rounds of shooting or combat against that squad. Of course, once the quarry is down, they do go back to hitting on 4s, but if the worst thing about this ability is, oh no, I destroyed the enemy unit, now I'm not getting my ability, it's not such a bad thing because guess what? The enemy unit is still being destroyed. We then have the war gear abilities. Starting off very strongly, we have the Arbites Medi Kit. Models in the Bears unit have a Feel No Pain 5+ ability. Oh, suit you, sir. I fucking love a 5+ Feel No Pain. I put a 5+ Feel No Pain on my Deathcore Krieg every day of the week, and it makes them such a sticky, durable infantry unit. Being able to do the same thing on the Exaction Squads is awesome. And when you look at the 5+ Feel No Pain, and then bearing in mind that they have a 4+ save basic, so in cover, that means they're going to have a 3+ save followed by a 5+, that's really tasty. They're still only toughness 3, so if your opponent wants to get rid of them, they probably will get rid of them, but I reckon that it will take your opponent an annoying amount of firepower, annoying for them to deal with these guys. They can't just chuck some spare bolter rounds at them and expect the Exaction Squad to go down. It's going to take some dedicated firepower. Firepower that they might want to put into something on the surface seems more valuable. We also have the Soul Guilt Scanner. Ranged weapons equipped by models in the Bears unit have the Ignores Cover ability. Really good, fantastic ability. Ignores Cover just inbuilt, no messing around, not having to pair it with another unit, just they have Ignores Cover. The fact that you get this and that their shotguns are 18-inch range, not a 12-inch range, means that typically what you can do, especially on a lot of like terrain dense boards, is you can have your Arbites, your Exaction squad, sat in cover, blasting at an enemy unit that's also in cover, and you're ignoring their cover and they're not ignoring yours, which will give you the edge in that firefight. Finally, we do taper off a little bit with the Nuncio Aquila. While an enemy unit is within 3 inches of the bearer, each time that it takes a backshock test, subtract 1 from that test. That's not great. I'm not gonna lie. A, battle shock is just fundamentally a bit crap, and B, a 3-inch aura is shocking. The Nuncio Aquila is one that I think you will probably forget about most of the time, and if it comes up ever, it will be a miracle. Now that covers all the different bits of the Exaction squad, but we've been looking at these in isolation in little bits, so let's zoom out a bit now from the nitty-gritty and look at the whole package together. For 110 points, which is somewhat expensive, but it's not super pricey, it's not super cheap. It puts them in line with other Imperial Guard elites such as Kazakin and Scions. You will get an 11 strong squad, because don't forget the Cyber Mastiff, which is going to have up to 29 strength 4 AP 0 damage 1 shots. I say up to 29 because you've got the rapid fire on the heavy stubber, and you've got the maximum potential blast on the frag grenade launcher. You will then also in combat get an additional 23 combat attacks, giving you a total of 52 attacks from this unit in one shooting and then charging. All of those shooting attacks will ignore cover as well, and all of these attacks are going to be hitting on 3s against their quarry, and they're all going to be strength 4 on the shooting. And on combat, you're going to have 3 strength 4 attacks hitting on 3s, 2 strength 4 attacks hitting on 2s at AP -1, 2 damage, and then you'll have another 18 attacks hitting on 3s, strength 3, AP 0, damage 1. It may not be great at punching through tanks, but that is going to do damage to any light to medium infantry unit. I think that is enough firepower and enough combat punch to happily take on any 10, 20 man light infantry unit. A unit of Scutari, a unit of guardsmen, a unit of guard equivalent, and a big brood of 20 Hormagaunts or 20 Termagants. Any light infantry or that equivalent, these guys will shred through them, no questions asked. And then when you start getting into medium infantry, such as your Space Marines, your Marine equivalent, that sort of toughness 4, that 3+ save vibe, then again, you'll have the volume to overwhelm them. However, I think it's important to note that whilst these guys are good at shredding light infantry and overwhelming medium infantry, right now 10th edition does seem to be a meta of vehicles and monsters. And so these guys just may not have a place in the current competitive state of the game. One thing that I would say though is that the times they are changing. We are seeing factions like Orcs and their Green Tide ability looking very spicy. And we've also got Tyranids with their Unending Swarm, and Guard, who are a very much up and coming faction, also have lots of infantry that can respawn, and so you need to be able to clear them out quickly. There are other factions like Dark Elder, which sure have got lots of vehicles, but they're quite light, and their infantry is very, very light as well. And even though AdMech aren't a super popular faction, their infantry isn't that durable, and if you do come across them, being able to shred through those hordes of Scutari is quite important. So yes, we are in a vehicle meta. Yes, I think that is going to be a big mark against the Exaction squad. But if the meta shifts, remember these guys and keep them at the back of your mind. Overall, I think that the Exaction squad has enough firepower and combat capability and durability to fall comfortably into the category of units which you can include in your army without feeling like you're totally handicapping and hamstringing yourself. Are they super meta? No. But are they tragically bad? Not at all. Well, at least that's what I think. But of course, all of this is just like my opinion, man. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. Do you think that the Exaction squad has got some legs, or do you think that it's just not relevant for the mechanized 10th meta? Also, are there any other allied units that you want me to have a look at? Get your suggestions down in that comment section. If you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to smash that like button. It really does help boost the video with the YouTube algorithm. And also subscribe to never miss an episode. Would you like to know more? If so, then please consider becoming a channel member or patron. By supporting the channel, not only will you be doing your part, but you'll also be helping me create more content for your viewing pleasure and unlocking a whole host of perks. You get everything from a badge next to your name, custom emojis, but the big one is access to the Mordian Glory Discord server, an online community with almost 2,500 active members. It's always popping off in the MG Discord. We've got channels for army lists, hobbying, tactics, stories, and even a pretty spicy meme section as well. For all you greenhorns that wanted to see the Mordian glory hole, today is your lucky day. And joking aside, I do want to say a massive thank you to all of the current channel members and patrons. You guys are amazing, truly the lifeblood of the channel. I could not do Mordian Glory full-time without the incredible and generous support of my members, so thank you guys so much. And last but certainly not least, I want to say a personal thank you to all of my top tier Patreons. These are the War Masters, the people who have truly gone above and beyond the call of duty. So a heartfelt thank you to Alex Dengal, Bon Vert, Mad Larkin, Marcus Roberts, Mark Panconi, RJ Scorpion, Swordfish Trombone, Try Again Bragg, John Stubbs, Nick Wolf, Diesel Fox, and August Varney. Seriously guys, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Your support is incredible and it makes a huge difference. Thank you so much. That's all for now. Hope you've all enjoyed today's video, and of course, as always, see you guys next time.